Hello, everyone. Welcome to the market simulation call for independent releases 2022. My name is Anshuman Vaidya. I'm your market simulation lead and today is April 42. Calls and webinars are recorded for stakeholder convenience, allowing those who are unable to attend to listen to the recordings after the meetings. The recordings will be publicly available on the ISO webpage for a limited time following the meetings. The recordings and any related transcription should not be reprinted without the ISO permission. We'll follow the following agenda today. We'll talk about Mapstage availability. We'll talk about the connectivity testing in Mapstage. We'll talk about any changes to system interface. And then we'll talk about the market simulation initiatives and timelines for the independent releases 2022. We'll have a quick reminder about the registration details, and then we'll talk about the initiatives separately. Currently, we don't have any Mapstage maintenance scheduled, and you could always log into portalmap.kaiser.com to get up-to-date information. Is there any question regarding Mapstage availability? All right. Moving on. For Mapstage connectivity testing, we have RSEE settlements started on 31st March and will continue till 18th of May. And for RDRR cyber rules, we are in connectivity week right now. It will go until Monday, April 18th next week. Any questions regarding this timeline for connectivity testing? All right, moving on. We have system interface changes that are coming up with this release listed over here. Do you have any updates on this one?
Hi, so quick updates on Mapstage availability. So since the last call, the cyber rules did go into Mapstage for RDRR as of the 12th. So those are there now. And then for tech specs, we have a new ETA for CMRI. Those are planned for mid next week, April 20th, and going to the tug on April 26th. So those are the only updates here so far.
Thank you. Trang, any other questions on the interface changes that are coming up with this release? All right, moving on. For the market simulation initiatives and timeline, we have 3 projects: the reliability demand response, resource bidding enhancements track 1, transmission service and market scheduling priorities phase 1, and resource sufficiency evaluations enhancements phase 1A. We have not made any changes, so these dates are still same as we discussed in the last meeting. Anybody has any questions regarding these timelines? Right, moving on. The date of registration for structured scenario was April 7th. And if you still want to participate in the market simulation and want to register, please let us know as soon as possible, and we'll do our best to accommodate for the late registration. Any thoughts, concerns regarding the registration details? Okay, moving on. So for reliability, demand, response, resource bidding enhancements phase 1, as you know, that will be performing structured scenario on April 19, and I have further information for you regarding the trading hours that will be used. I'm going to go through this timeline and let me know if you have any questions. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. in the morning of April 19, we'll have bid caps at $1,000 for hour ending 16 to 19. You can submit a few RDRR bids within those hours, which will cover scenario 1, part 1. Then at 10 a.m., ISO will set conditions to raise the bid cap to $2,000 for the same hour ending 16 to 19. From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., you should submit some RDRR bids once the cap has been raised, and leave some bids at their old value for a few resources, and check that they were revised upward as expected once the market closes. This will cover part 2 of scenario 1. From 12 p.m. onwards, Kaiser will set conditions to lower the bid cap to $1,000 for the trading hours 18th to 19th. And by noon, close of business, resubmit some RDRR bids once the cap has been lowered, leave some bids at their old value, and check that they were revised downwards as expected once the market closes. That will be scenario number 2. We do have an example for SE action displayed below. I'll stop here for you to maybe go through that one, or if you have questions for the timeline that I just discussed, please let me know.
Hey, Anshuman, this is Isaac with SCE. Question, so we won't see the results until each hour's close of the market, right? That's when the Kaiso is going to, the functionality of automatically adjusting bids will occur. So we won't see, so, yeah, okay.
Thank you, Isaac, for bringing that point. So we are expecting you to verify the results the next day when you come in. You can do that, or you can check the results after hour ending 19. And I want to make sure that I convey this. There are no settlements impact for the structured scenario that we have listed for scenario 1 and scenario 2. So after this testing is done, if you want to, if there are some market participants who wants to test it again, we should be able to do it even in non-settlement day.
Okay. Are we going to test the day ahead timeline as well as part of this market sim? We do have some RDR.
This is only for real time.
Okay, because we do have some RDR resources that we can submit day ahead bids for. So is Kaiso not planning to test a day ahead market for this test?
As per my knowledge, Isaac, this functionality is only touching the real-time part, so we don't need to check the day-ahead part. And from Kaiser side, please, correct me if I'm wrong.
Hey, this is Greg. So yeah, I think it's correct. We're not going to be supporting the day ahead from a structured scenario standpoint because there's no changes to the day ahead. But you'll certainly have an opportunity if you want to submit bids. I mean, to generate the real time, we have to have a day ahead market. So, which means that Cyber should be open for the day ahead as well. So you can, if you want to just do some testing on your own, you can certainly do that.
Hey, Greg, but for the day ahead market, you're not going to be raising the bid cap or lowering the bid cap then, right?
That's correct. We will not be doing that.
Okay. But this functionality, once it's implemented, potentially it could impact the day ahead market as well, no?
No, it should not impact the day ahead market. This functionality is only for the real time. The existing functionality that you have today will be maintained for the day ahead market.
So for the day ahead market, if the bid cap was raised to $2,000, for our RDR resources are able to bid into the day ahead market, Kaiso will not be adjusting our bids after the day ahead market closes?
That's correct. So for the day ahead market, the rule is that you can bid. The current rules and the rules that will be in the day ahead market is you can bid up to $1,000, and then if you have a cost justified bid above 1,000, then you can bid up to that cost justified bid. With that said, I know there's issues with being able to cost justify an RDR or bid above $1,000. But that will stay as it is in day ahead.
Okay, so for the day ahead market, we would then, if the bid cap is raised to $2,000, we would have to manually submit a cost justified bid above the $1,000 bid cap. So if we want to adjust our bids from 950 to 1900, for example, in the day ahead market, that would still have to be done manually. That would not be part of this implementation.
That's correct.
I see.
Isaac, this is Josh Arnold from PG&E. It might help to remember that RDRRs don't have the requirement in the day ahead that they have to bid above $950. That's only a real-time requirement. In the day ahead market, RDRRs can bid at any price.
That is correct. But we would want to, right?
That's up to you.
Yeah, that's correct. Okay.
But the settlement decision with the CPUC was that the bid cap requirements mandating the 90, the bid minimum is only applicable to the real time. So during the policy stage, we only looked at it from a real time perspective because there's no requirement in the day ahead that the resource bids be above a certain point. Because you could bid at $500, you could bid at $250, you could bid at $5 in the day ahead if you felt that was cost justified to you. If that helps.
Whereas thanks, Josh. That's actually a good point. And yeah, to put it a different way, in the real time, then you have to bid. We want for the settlement, you're supposed to be bidding at the very top of the stack, right? So I think that the analogy then is if the bid cap goes to 2,000, then you should have bids at the top of that stack, which doesn't, that same principle doesn't apply to day ahead.
Okay.
And of course, just to add, if the $2,000 price cap is sitting the day ahead, that should roll over automatically into the real time as well. So your real time RDRR bids would be under the new price cap requirement.
That's correct.
Okay. I do have a second question that's not related to the structure scenario, and this is regarding our request to test the bid cost recovery functionality for this initiative. And I was wondering if I can ask that now, or should I wait till after this slide?
You can ask that now, Isaac. Go ahead.
Okay. So the question is, how does the CAISO plan to trigger bid cost recovery? I'm assuming that's going to be performed on the 19th as well.
Right. So
Yeah,
let me first start by saying that bid cost recovery is a very difficult scenario to accomplish, and I'll let Greg explain of how we're planning to do it.
Hi, this is Greg again. So since we have bids, we'll have bids for hours 16 and 17 that are at the between $1,900 and $2,000. What we'll need to do then in the real time market is to set up a scarcity condition or our tight system conditions, basically where we're forced to dispatch resources that are very high up in the stack. So we'll basically that means probably that would mean adjusting the load forecast so that we exercise everything we have, and then that should then dispatch those RDRRs. And then what we'll do after the fact is we'll make price corrections for those hours, basically lowering the prices down to probably something very low, like negative 150 or below. Pass those price corrections on to settlements, and then at that point you should have a combination of very high priced resources dispatched in the market with very high priced bids, and then resources, but those same resources have very low resource specific prices, and that should trigger the BCR.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Perfect. Great discussion. I'm sure it helped everyone attending the meeting. Any other questions regarding RDRR that we can discuss here? All right, moving on. Next, we have is Transmission Service and Market Scheduling Priorities Phase 1 project. The structured scenario will be performed on May 5th, but the code will be available to market participants for testing on Mapstage from May 3rd to May 20. And the structured scenario document is available here for your review. Any questions related to this project? All right, moving on. For Resource Sufficiency Evaluation Enhancements Phase 1A project, we're going to have a cutover for the charge code on 331. Before 331, the ISO will be allocated to, and after 331, when RSE1 is effective, ISO is not being allocated to. The market simulation will start on May 19th, and the structured scenarios, we plan to publish it by 22nd. We have to move the date a little bit so that we can develop the structured scenarios. Any questions related to this project?
Yeah, Instrument, this is Jichong with Portland General. So I sent you an email earlier. Just wanted to know that what changes do I need to make in the master file to be able to test the DR? Because in the CAISO BRS, it mentions that there is a flag that it needs to be enabled, but I couldn't find that field or flag in the master file.
That's a great question. I'm not sure right now. I would request you to please put a CD ticket for it, and we'll get back to you on that one.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this project?
Hey, Anshuman. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this
Yes,
is Oren
I can hear
from Smud. So can I clarify something? So in this case, it says the second bullet, it's already available to be, you can already see it in the statements for trade date 331, but market sim starts on May 19th. Can you clarify that statement in there?
Hi, this is Trang. Instrument, can I take this?
Yeah, Trang, please go ahead.
Okay. So thanks, Jonas, for that question. So for the settlement changes, they're included for RSE, they're included in the settlements release that's in Mapstage right now that is currently, being settled and reflected in the statements. So in this case, the settlement changes are not dependent on that upstream functionality as we normally would expect for an initiative. But for RSE, though, we wanted to have those changes effective in settlements and to take advantage of the code already being there and being tested on our side. But for RSE as a whole, we wanted to go and prepare for the market simulation for that entire initiative and go to our quality review board together for all of the features. And so that's why you see a later market simulation official start date for the RSE initiative overall.
Oh, I see. All right, thanks, Trang. I actually did submit an IMS ticket on that one for that second bullet. So just I guess a heads up. Just I don't think I'm seeing the code for that change though.
You are not seeing the code for the change?
Yeah, I'm looking at the trade dates after trade date 331 in Mapstage. But I could have been looking at something else, but I think I didn't see it though, the change.
This is Asad Tank.
Hey,
Yeah,
Asad.
hi, Jonas. The code in Mapstage since last Friday 4/1. So any trade date processed after 4/1 should include the resource sufficiency evaluation enhancement.
So 4/1.
Yeah, it was in the Mapstage since 4.1, and so we run trade date like 4.5, 4.7, and also March 31st. This one should include the RSEE.
Okay. Yeah, so I did check 4.5, but probably I'll check another trade date after 4.5 though, because like 4.5 I didn't see either.
Yeah, so thank you, and I'm sorry for the confusion there. We'll also follow up with our team to just confirm which trade date, because there's some discrepancy on what's on the slide versus, what Assad just mentioned between which trade date you'll be able to see the RSE effective. So we'll respond in the case that you have, as well as make any additional clarifications in this deck as well.
I appreciate it, Chang, and Assad.
Yeah, and please add any additional detail for the additional trade dates that you do check into your case, and then that way we can take a closer look at those as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this project? All right, moving on. So that's all I have for today's teleconference. The next one is scheduled on April 18th at 2 p.m. And now I'll open up for any other comments or any other feed tickets that you guys want to look for me to look. Please let me know. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining the meeting. We'll see you back again on April 18th.